Good day everyone, how have you been? I'm back with a drawing session today. Hopefully we'll try to make this video longer than usual. And the second goal is to be able to speak while drawing at the same time, which is hard. It is hard, but I'll actually do a mix of both voicing over and speaking in real life, because my goal for drawing sessions is to speak about something that I'm thinking of while drawing and not while looking at myself drawing, which are two different things. I guess I should practice myself. So the idea is I actually wanted to do this yesterday, and this was my previous drawing that I was supposed to draw with you, but I couldn't focus and it was going very badly. But as soon as I closed off the camera, the process has gone so much easier. And it's annoying. When I could actually focus on it myself, it went well. And I guess we'll have to practice that to be able to do the same in public or on camera as what I can do in a comfortable, quiet, lonesome environment. Right, so for today's drawing, I'll be using colorful pencils and graphite. I'm starting off with a tiny sketch in a small journal with thin paper that I don't really care about. I've actually never done that before much. Like, I never really planned for my art beforehand, but I never realized until now how useful this is. In the future, in the video, you'll see that I'll be trying to line up some colors and choosing the color palette for this, which is not too varied, but it counts as well. And I'll be using that in the future. I mean, the small notebook. I started using it specifically to make little sketches anywhere I go. That's why I'll be taking it on holiday with me. And since it's math paper, I can write my thoughts as well here. So it's just something that I wouldn't really care about. I wouldn't mind if I ruin a page. So, actually I should stop thinking about quote-unquote ruining my sketchbooks in general. Though in my case, it's not even the fact of making a bad drawing, but it's rather that I want my art to reveal an emotion that I feel. This is the main goal for my art. I don't want to be creating just for the sake of drawing something. I want to be creating for myself. And if there's no emotion, if it's a hollow piece of drawing, then I most possibly wouldn't like it. Not even because it's bad, but because I'm not connected to it in any way. If it doesn't resonate with me in any way, I feel like I wasted a page. Even the smallest sketches, even the warm-ups, they have to be kind of connected to me in some way. Now, I don't know what paper should I use. Maybe I could use this sketchbook. Oh, I guess we're using it now. Although these barriers we create for ourselves, these rules, they are borders to our imagination, and I feel like, well, it's important for the artist to be connected to their art at all times, but maybe this harshness is unnecessary. And that's also why I feel like, well, when I don't create something unique from my head, I don't feel so proud of it in a way, because I actually took a picture and I either redrew it or I heavily got inspired by it or something like that, but it's never fully from my head. And here in this drawing that I'm drawing on the screen, it is actually from my head mostly. I just got the idea of the veil on the eyes from someone else, which I don't know who was it, but the pose and everything, I use myself as a reference for the pose, the color scheme, everything. So in the end, I do end up liking this drawing, and I feel like if we draw from our head, we end up more satisfied in a way, because it's our own imagination first of all, which is much harder to do than copying an image or having an example to follow. And that's the thing. The satisfaction grows bigger when there is no example, because you have nothing to rely on. You don't have a reference, like a fully set in stone reference. By this I mean you can use a hand pose, but that's just bits and bobs. It's not one exact image to follow, and thus we don't have an expectation in our head in the first place, and that's why we get more satisfied with the end result than if we followed a reference strictly. You know, probably why it's hard for me to multitask like that? It's because I've started liking to work in complete silence. Just recently, like before this, I usually put something on in the background, which was either music or some YouTube video. But recently I was just feeling like I don't want to listen to anyone while drawing. I don't know what does this have to do with, but I'm sure that the main reason is that we feel too overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we consume on social media. There's just stuff happening everywhere, and there's no place for our own creativity to spark. And then I find myself unable to think of anything to draw from my head. God, I don't like the face. Don't like it. The small sketch feels so much more expressive than this one. Okay, listen, you know what? It's hard for me to draw at an angle because I have to keep track of my phone, where it is. So now I'm actually standing up. I just stood up to get a better visualization of what I'm drawing. What else can I say? I've been reading a book called The Goldfinch. I'm at page 50, and bro, it's quite traumatizing. The description specifically is what got me. By plotline, the main character's mom died in a museum because a bomb was placed there. It kind of gets to your head because you start imagining all this stuff. The descriptions are so vivid. You can feel them. And fun fact, when I was reading Tender is the Flesh, another book, but it's about how the government legalized cannibalism and what it led to, it's surprising to me that I got more distraught by the first 50 pages of The Goldfinch rather than Tender is the Flesh. Maybe because you know that what's happening in Tender is the Flesh, it could be possible in the future, but it's not real now, and you can't really imagine it that well, because this future seems possible, yet still quite unimaginable, since it's so different to today's world. On the other hand, in The Goldfinch, bombs have been detonated countless times in this world, and you know the consequences of this, and you pray it doesn't happen to you one day. So reading about this with a highly creative mind, well, it's quite alarming, especially with the descriptions of the victims and their wounds and everything. Also, going back to the drawing, I'm sorry I'm switching topics so much, but holy shit, the eyes make such a difference. You know, it is really the key of the drawing. The eyes. Well, if you have a portrait. Because, okay, I fixed the eyes and it finally starts coming together. I think I like it now. I'll be more satisfied with the process afterwards, when I start adding the color and everything. Also, this guy who I'm drawing right now, he reminds me of Mello from Death Note. And I haven't even watched Death Note, that's the thing. I wanted to, but I never got to it. the smaller drawing and the bigger drawing together, and I still like the smaller one better. This has to be a joke. This has to be a joke. Also, you know what? I noticed something different. I started picking up loose sheets of paper more often, and by that I also mean low quality paper. Sometimes, if printer paper is considered low quality, then yes. So for example, this drawing I showed you earlier, this is printer paper, and I feel like maybe it's a safer option. It could be a safer option for many different reasons. For example, maybe you're scared to ruin an expensive page, therefore waste your money in a way. Even though I don't stand by it, I think that low quality paper has its own charm. Well, printer paper, for example, it's kind of textureless. I mean, every paper has a texture, but since we're so used to seeing printer paper everywhere, we kind of treat it as the basic format, and I consider it kind of textureless. So I heard this person say online that they use printer paper whenever they get art block, and it has to do with its lack of texture, because when art block hits they get overwhelmed with specialized artist paper, which I do understand, and I actually took that advice, since I have a whole bag of printer paper laying around in my wardrobe for 5 years and I have to use it. And I do share the same experience of getting overwhelmed with very heavily textured paper. That's why when I go to buy a sketchbook, I have to be specific about it. Paper is really the only thing that bothers me. If I don't like the texture, I can't draw on it. And therefore, if a sketchbook is sealed in the shop, I'm definitely not gonna buy it unless I know for sure how the paper feels like. For example, art creation, they are usually sealed, but I've used them for so long and I know I'm familiar with them. So I need to pick some colors, what to use next. These are the ones I've been using so far, but I need to expand my boundaries on colors. This is the boring part, I guess. I'm just watching it. Do you think this green would look fine? It's quite bright. Okay, I think I found my colors. I'll be definitely using these, which I haven't used in a long while. Okay, guess we'll start. What can I say? Let me talk about after stress recovering. I've only said that I've been stressed and blah blah blah, stuff like that. But then, good news, I am getting better. But basically, I still have stuff to work on. Now, recently, I've been waking up at 7:30 or something, and I've willingly changed my bedtime. And now I thought, well, since no matter when I go to sleep, I still wake up at 5 in the morning, I just have to go to bed earlier, and I tried that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Though I've bragged about this for too long already, I've mentioned it too many times, I just want to spread awareness of what study-induced stress can do to you. It's got too many side effects to it. Please don't do it. Please don't overwork yourself, because afterwards you'll spend as much time recovering as you have spent time stressing, and it's just not worth it. Sleeplessness is probably the least of the issues that could arise. I'm not gonna talk about any other ones for privacy, but I'm just saying, be careful. Also, talking about the Goldfinch again, this book was actually recommended to me by a guy who I got inspired from his art once. So he told me about this book and it interested me, and then I went to charity one day and I found it by accident and I thought, this is fate, I have to buy it. So I bought it for very cheap at the charity store, and yeah, I'm currently really loving it. The descriptions are everything. The way the author chooses her words is impeccable, I think. So totally recommend it, even though I have just started reading it, so I can't really give a good grasp on the whole plot line yet, but I'm having high hopes for it either way because of the start, because the start actually got me invested, you know. And if the start of the book gets you invested, then, well, I consider it a good book. And then you see if you change your mind at the end, but yeah, the main point for me is to get invested since the very start and actually want to be reading it. Though yesterday I had to take a break from it because, again, the explanations of the post-bombing imagery was honestly very vivid, very expressive. The author described the victims in great detail, and like, the guy was walking down the museum halls because he was the one who survived, along with an old man who died soon after he woke up. So technically he didn't survive, but it was like a fever dream for the guy itself in the book, and for me reading it as well. I also had some strange ambient music in the background at the time, and I kind of regretted it. Maybe I shouldn't have put music on. You know, the type of music that S. Mahaba produces? I don't even know the genre, but it's some kind of ambient, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this kind of music was playing in my headphones, and I was like, okay, this is not making the situation any better. I just feel like I'm about to get jumped, right? So I had to switch it off. But yeah, it's just, you know, people with a wild imagination while reading, like me. Like, when I read, I imagine the whole scenery, of course, and then if it's very grotesque in a way, it doesn't do me any good, because I imagine all these things happening to the characters, and then I imagine what would have happened if I were in their position. Like this guy, after the incident, he left the museum as a survivor, and he was trying to find his mom, and obviously he couldn't do it in this whole crowd of people, everybody running left and right. So he just went home thinking that his mom is 100% gonna stay there and wait for him to come back. But we all know damn well she didn't. I didn't read past that moment, but I just know what's gonna happen. So after that chapter finished, I've read the few lines from the start of the next chapter, and the chapter started with, one of my greatest fears was that one day my mom wouldn't come home from work. And this just sparked a memory, because I used to be scared about that as well as a child. I think all kids had this fear in their head that their parents wouldn't come home on a random day and they would just be left all alone forever. And seeing this guy talk about this, it's really relatable, you know. It gets to your core. It's easier for me to imagine what could have happened to me in this situation, and because of this empathy I feel for the characters, it is mentally harder to handle it. my pencil fell. God, that's... Should I finish right now? Should I finish this drawing right now? I don't know. I feel like I could do more on it, but I don't want to work on it anymore. I could do the clothes more detailed, but I don't feel like it. I guess I'll leave it. No, wait. I need to work on the hand as well. Like, if I shaded this hand, I might as well shade this one. And maybe then I'll be done. But I don't want to finish the video yet. So, actually, you know, I wanted to add gold leaf onto these things here. I don't know, should I? I need to look at previous uses of gold leaf in my sketchbook. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Would that look fine in this picture? There's also another one. We got copper sparkly pen. The parts where I try things out are kind of boring, not gonna lie. But I thought about including it since it's a part of the process still. I need to try the gold leaf out. That's for sure. I highly recommend these glue pens for anyone who works with fine materials, because you don't have to worry about messing it up. Okay, now we just put it lightly, press it down. You don't necessarily have to buy expensive gold leaf or like real gold leaf, because that can't be real. This for €2? Definitely not. It's fake gold, but who cares? Well, I don't, at least. So what's better? I mean, this is definitely shinier, but then if you look at it from a different angle, it's too dark. Should I use this pen instead? You know what, maybe. And that's exactly why we have the trial version for, because I did end up using the copper glitter pen. Just smudging on a few lines with my finger. I decided not to put too much because I don't use these glitter pens a lot, even though I really like them. They just don't suit my art style. But they do fit this piece though, because it's pretty colorful, unlike anything else I draw. I could add some outline here a little bit, and I think I'd be finished. In the future, I would like to film a video where I just do sketches instead of a full piece. I just felt like doing a full piece today, but maybe sketching would be nicer. To a point, I don't know. Okay, this definitely doesn't look like a veil, even though I want it to be one. But yeah, whatever, fine with that. I'll just shade it a little bit to add some depth to it, to at least like show that it's there. But I don't care about the veil, honestly. And then you can't even see the veil on the eyes, which was the whole point of this, to see it on the eyes. But then, yeah, I guess not this time. There is a different angle available. I forgot about that. I had this idea to add some veil creases on top of their eyes. Maybe that would help make it look more like a veil, and it kinda did. But again, I'm not bothered to finish working on it. I could possibly add more details and make it even more detailed, but I think it's fine like that. You can change your flaws into something unique. It could be your own designer choice. That's actually how most art styles become real. Like, you make a mistake and you try to change it, and if you can't do it, if you can't change it, you can use it to your own benefit. And that's how, I guess, art styles come to life. I guess we should befriend our flaws, then it's all gonna work out. And yeah, I don't know how this video is gonna do. I hope it's long enough, and I hope that it does well. Popularity is definitely not in my view, but I do want it to get recognized. I tend to be humble about it. But anyway, since we're coming to the end of the video, I hope that it's long enough and it's interesting enough. This is more of a laid-back format, and that doesn't mean that I will stop making my heavy editing videos, the more relaxing ones, but I just wanted to try a new format. I hope it's likable. And see ya in 3 weeks, I guess, because I'm going away, as I said before. If you want to see more of my art, I am available on Instagram and Pinterest. I'm also on TikTok, but I'm on hiatus there because I got tired of the app and I deleted it, but my account is still there. So take care everyone, and bye bye, see you later.